Hello everyone and welcome to my summer 2021 soil comparison video. In this episode, I'll be planting identical seedlings using 3 different potting mixes. Let's get started. Here are the contenders for this year's comparison and experiment. All of these were priced around $10 a bag. This was more than double the price that I paid for the Brunnings tomato and vegetable mix, which is sadly no longer available. This mix produced great results last season. I'll leave a link to that previous soil comparison video if you'd like to check that out. The first potting mix is Seedlings Advanced Potting Mix. This is from the same company that produced the Seaweed Tonic. The highlights for this potting mix include the addition of seaweed and organics, as well as standard trace elements and nutrients. The second potting mix is Rich Grow's Black Marvel Potting Mix. The standout for this product is the addition of iron and being high in potash, which, as the product claims, will grow bigger plants. Time will tell. And finally, what I consider to be the best based on face value is the Osmocote Plus Organics Tomato, Vegetable and Herb Premium and Potting Mix. This is jam-packed with composted manure, blood and bone, seaweed and gypsum. This should in theory outperform the others based on contents alone, but as mentioned before, time will tell. For this experiment, I'm going to use 3 Aji Charapita seedlings. They are almost identical. One seedling is a couple of inches taller. I'm going to use that one on the first potting mix. Let's get to planting. As you can see in the background, I shot this video on the same weekend that I did most of my pepper planting. These seedlings will receive the same treatment as all my other seedlings. A tablespoon of blood and bone and Epsom salt, followed by seaweed tonic to help reduce transplant shock. I will also mention that I won't be using any vermiculite or perlite, as I want to see how these perform without improving drainage. We begin with the Seedlings potting mix, and as you can see, this is a very loose and fluffy mix. Moving on to the second potting mix for this experiment, this is the Rich Grow brand Black Marvel Potting Mix with its advertised increased potash. For all my planting, I use this brand's Blood and Bone fertilizer, which I highly recommend. In comparison to the Seedlings mix, this was slightly clumpier and I had to break up some chunks to loosen the mixture, but nothing to complain about. And finally, we have the Osmocote Plus Organics Potting Mix, which I was very hyped up for. I had to gradually pour the potting mix in because this mix had large chunks the size of tennis balls that I had to break up. It's important to do this so that the soil can be free draining and allow roots to spread. And with the tag put in, that is our last subject complete for this experiment. These will all reside against the north-facing wall, accompanied by ghost peppers, where they will receive at least 8 hours sunshine a day. Here's what the plants look like 5 weeks after planting. As with most of my peppers, I decided not to top these. The first ripe pod was on the first plant, and it felt so good to taste fresh peppers again. But to be fair, the first plant is 2 inches taller and did have a head start. Welcome to 2022, and we've had some humid, tropical, rainy weather lately. Heading into the last month of summer, almost 2 months after planting, here's what the plants look like. There has been a lot of lateral growth on all plants. The first plant that produced the first ripe pod of the season has a lot of flowers with no visible pods as of yet. Number 2 has a lot of buds with flowers to come, but only a couple of pods. And the final Aji Charapita plant has a lot of buds, a lot of flowers, and has the most pods of all 3 at this stage, with around a dozen pods that are ripening. The one thing I can report on at this stage is water retention. A day and a half after watering and warm weather, the first saucer has retained water, whereas pot number 2 and pot number 3 have dried out. Here is another Aji Charapita seedling that was placed into a similar sized pot with budget potting mix at the same time as my other 3. The plant is currently 8 inches wide by 9.5 inches tall. In comparison to the others, there is not a lot of activity on this one as of yet. Finally, I planted another Aji Charapita seedling in my wine barrel, which is also home to 2 ghost pepper plants and basil. Out of all 5, this is the best performing plant. This video doesn't do this plant justice. It is big, and I can only see this getting bigger as the season progresses. This is a very beautiful and productive plant. Have a look at all that growth, the flowers, and dozens of pods. And that is my soil comparison video for this summer. I will provide further updates on these heading into the business end of the growing season. If you have any questions in relation to this video, please feel free to leave a comment, and of course like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you same chilly time, same chilly channel.